dear Bagginses and Boffins.
I was gonna say it's actually kind of like the first one, but with a lot more context.
Yeah, yeah,
It's actually like it's showing the same stuff as the first one, but then putting like more of before and after of the shot with dialogue, and so you kind of know what's actually going on now.
yeah, and it wasn't just random moments like you said. You were able to get that longer take on a particular scene, um, and it just with the context and the dialogue seemed pretty good, to be honest.
Mhm.
Obviously it's going to be a little bit fantasy cheesebally, but I think all in all, you can make the same criticism of certain dialogue in the movies, which I absolutely love the dialogue in the movies. So, uh, you know, to me, that's part of what this has got to have in it, even if it is a little bit cheesy, just because it's an epic, right? It's like an epic story. You're gonna have those moments that are, to me, some of the best moments in the original trilogy. So,
Of course, yeah.
okay, so I guess we'll just intro this. Yes, we'll go 3, 2, 1, action. All right, welcome back, everyone. We are talking about the new trailer. It just dropped, and we're gonna have it up on the screen playing a little bit, but we might get they might get taken down. So if it did, sorry, we're gonna just have sort of some still images. Anyway, I guess let's kind of get into it. A lot of it is the same. A lot of it is stuff we've already seen. Just as you were saying, a little bit more context surrounding it, right? You get a lot more dialogue for sure, and you do get a little bit more build up to each scene. I mean, heck, we saw something that I think they probably shouldn't have shown, and maybe we'll skip to that. It's when Galadriel takes down the troll.
Ah,
We actually see her win that fight. Um, I don't know where it is. Do you know where it is? I feel like it was towards the end, but well. Anyway, we see her basically kind of do like a spin move and take out its leg with her sword.
yep.
And yeah.
228, 227.
Oh, okay. Yeah, right at the end. Um, so yeah, we kind of see a little bit too much there, maybe. But that sort of kind of gets across the point that they are showing a lot more context to try to alleviate some of the issues that the previous trailers had.
I liked seeing the when the guy, remember in the first one, there's the kind of the shot of the guy jumping in the air with the I don't know if it's a warhammer or a
Oh
battle
yeah,
axe, but now you see him like running up some ropes before that happens, and
yes, yeah, and I actually thought that was well done. You know, you're always trying to outdo the previous uh movie or show that does something similar, and we have Legolas from both the original trilogy and the Hobbit,
the
who
Hobbit,
is
he
very,
jumps up those stones
yeah,
the
he's
bridge.
very athletic, and he's so you need to have something like that. But I think people had an issue with the stone jumping. I know I did. I think this is a much better way to do that same idea. So I thought that was pretty cool. And we get more. We got more than I thought we were going to of what I think is the Meteor Man or like the Wizard. I'm not even sure what we're calling this guy anymore. Um, but we definitely see him almost like a full image of him in this one, instead of just being a hand, right? So before in the first teaser, we saw just like a hand reaching out and grabbing what is the precursor to a hobbit. Um, and now we actually get a full on him kind of standing up next to the hobbit. It's around 139. If you want to take a look there, so you can kind of see this guy standing up. He looks pretty scraggly, but he did just fall from the sky potentially if this is that same guy. Which again maybe too much, but also at this point I think you're really trying to get people to pay attention. I mean that we got a week to go before the show actually drops. Those of us who've been talking about this, I mean, we don't need this. So this is really just to get
So
other people in.
He doesn't look blue to me. So do you think he's one of those blue wizards?
Maybe it's a trick question. It's Radagast, and he just has.
I was
been
gonna say maybe they recast Radagast.
Yeah, let's see. Like, we get some dialogue that I thought was pretty good. a little bit on the cheesy side at times, but I think that's part of making a fantasy epic, especially when you're going to be compared to the original trilogy. Maybe not so much The Hobbit, but definitely the original trilogy. And some of those speeches are they're some of the best soliloquies in all of film. They really do resonate with me. Maybe not for everyone. I know I have spoken to some people that have a bit of an issue with some of the speeches just being a little too, in your face. Like like basically everything around them stops, and then they can give this speech almost like a staged play. I really like it. I actually really like it, and I kind of miss that aspect of film that we don't really get that much anymore. So I'm okay with the dialogue for now. Obviously, we clearly that there was speculation before, but it is clear now that we are setting up this human that meets up with Galadriel. We are setting him up as like a new Aragorn in a way. I don't know if he has any lineage tied to royalty, but just the whole like I'm not a hero vibe that Aragorn tried to give off initially. He's like, I'm not a king. I've turned from that path. I'm just a regular guy. But no, you're gonna be king again, Aragorn. Don't you worry.
Do we know more about that character in this trailer yet, or is it still kind of a mystery?
I don't know if we know more about him yet. I mean, we know that he is made up for the show, and we know that he meets up with Galadriel because all of these scenes, I mean, we've got him on a ship, we've got him then in like a shipwreck, it looks like, and then he saves Galadriel while on that shipwreck. He then tells her that he's not a hero. I don't know if I could see him in her. So she's got like a group of people and they're walking in the snow. I don't know if I could see him there, so I don't know if he's in her group yet at that point. So I don't know how much he's actually going to influence her journey or not either, because her journey is kind of it's already established not only in the lore but also just the vibe of her character already kind of gives off a like I'm on a quest. You know what I mean? Like she's all like people are telling her like slow down, like put away the sword. It's all good, and she's like, no, what am I gonna do without my sword? She like has to be fighting. He doesn't. We don't need him to come in and help her like see that. It seems clear that she is raring to go here, and the rest of these characters are kind of like settle down. There's nothing. There's nothing big that we need to do right now. You can just calm down. But yeah, all in all, I thought most of it looked pretty good. I still have a bit of an issue with some of the CGI. And I think it's fair to criticize this show's CGI. I've criticized The Hobbit CGI to no end, and a show this big, I feel like it just needs to live up to that budget. I mean, we're basically expecting a movie that is told in 1 hour segments, right? Like you can't get away by just saying it's a TV show. At this point, like the budget involved here, this thing needs to look really good, and it's just a YouTube trailer, so it's really hard to tell. I think the dwarven area looks really cool, but that something about the mountain still looks kind of off to me. But like when she's flying across with her dagger, there's just something. It almost
Right.
looks like they took like the
Video game trailer, yeah.
yeah, they took like the sprite from like Assassin's Creed, because you can legit do that move in Assassin's Creed. You just like jump from one thing to the other. To me that still looks a bit weird. But then there's another cut of it. I don't know how quick it cuts, but I freeze framed at 208. That one looks okay to me. We get from an underneath angle. It looks okay to me from there. So there might be moments that look a bit off, but hopefully other than that, it'll look pretty good.
Yeah, no, it does look silly. It does look silly. Her jumping and just throwing the knife in the
Yeah, like it's
You're
an
right.
ice. It's like an ice shear or something.
It doesn't really. The physics of it doesn't really make sense, does
No,
it?
the physics looks weird. I think that's what we're kind of complaining about. Just like it doesn't look like a real. It doesn't look like there's any weight. And now I will say elves have that quality, so you could argue that, but just there's a look to it that at least when Legolas was doing stuff, it looked more realistic and normal. There's something weird about this, and there's something weird about that stone scene in The Hobbit. Like I don't like that scene, even though some people argue that is within the lore of elves to do. It looks bad to me just the way they shot it. So
I didn't mind it. I just thought it was cool.
I know. I like I said, to me, there's just something about the way they shot it, because I now know. I think I'm in the camp that it's doable by an elf, but at the same time, it just, because of how they focused so heavily on it, that it took all of your focus onto it. I would much rather have it have been a lot more similar to when he's kind of like climbing the Oliphant. Like, yeah, he like that is the main focus of the scene, but you don't see him all the time, right? He sometimes like goes behind a trunk or goes behind the animal, and then he's like climbing up these things. And then even when he's sliding down the trunk, there's a moment where he gets blocked out completely by the trunk. And I think with all of that enough that it's chopped up his visual that you can believe what he's doing. I guess I don't really know, but to me the stone scene is similar to this, where it takes me, like I start thinking about it a little too much, and I really shouldn't be, right? I really, this is just a random jump on a mountain. It means nothing, but it's these kind of moments that will make me question, like, okay, wait, why do they do that? Like, why are they focusing on that? It's a little too flashy and not enough like substance. And if the CGI is off, then it's just awful. Then it's completely terrible.
Well, I mean, I'll add this too. She's not alone now. There's people following her, and she's doing this insane move, and she's expecting the people behind her to be able to follow her.
Yeah, imagine if Legolas turns to his group of like 5 other elves. Come on, guys, and he starts running up these stones. But by the time they come, the stones have gone. So now, what are they supposed to do?
Yeah. I hope you all have fancy knives that you can jab into this ice spot after me.
Yeah, Valyrian steel dagger. No, wait, wrong shot. Let's see. Now, one smart thing they do in this trailer is they stopped showing those weird antler people. Nobody knows what they are. You can look at any YouTube channel, any article. Nobody knows what that is, and nobody likes it. Some people think it's kind of cool, but nobody's like, yeah, I need antler men, or whatever they are. Let's see. We get a little bit of dialogue between the two elf, the romantic elf human setup that we're gonna have, and we also get a bit of dialogue between these two dwarves. So
yes,
I seeing the dialogue, it really does help, and I actually think the look of this female dwarf in at 111 is much better than the promotional photo, because it looks actually lived in now. If you look at her clothing, it actually looks worn. It's not just CGI'd on her body.
Yeah.
I think it looks way better. The lighting makes it look way better. So I think this would have been a much better promotional thing to show the first black female dwarf than what they did. I think.
Is she Durin the Fourth's wife?
I
or was
I have
it-
no idea. She's
or-
made up. I don't know who she is. I think so. She's like some sort of queen.
Okay.
So yeah, I think because she wouldn't be the leader, right? It would be because we have both Durins here.
Mhm.
So one of them
Yeah.
has to be the leader. Like that's the whole point. Anyway, I wanted to point that out. I think that a part of the big issue people have is also the way that, and I talked about this at the time, and I compared it to the Wheel of Time, which is the clothing looked not real. Like it almost looked CGI'd onto them. This actually is real clothing now, and I think it looks way better.
I regret to announce this is the end. I bid you all a very fond farewell.